What's one sensation the opposite sex will truly never get to experience? The terrible fear that there's a bloodstain on your pants every second you're on your period. When your genitals accidentally brush the inside of the toilet when you're trying to poop. Taking a dump and peeing, except the stream can unluckily go between the bowl and toilet seat if you're not careful. And you end up pissing all over your pants. Sitting at work and my mind wanders to that time a girl blew me in a sleeping bag. Random boner. Sitting in class and the girl in front of you has an amazing ass. Random boner. Meditating. Random boner. At the grocery store trying to decide between regular Fruit Loops or generic. Random boner. Living on an underdeveloped word inside a universe inside of a car battery and spot a particularly curvy piece of driftwood. Random boner. When you sneeze while on your period and you feel a bunch of blood pumped, slide out. When you have to tuck and roll out of bed instead of just sitting up to avoid potentially staining your sheets. Or when you're just walking along and all of a sudden a big glob slides out mid-step. No matter how long you've been menstruating for, you're never prepared for it. Pulling out a dry tampon and feeling like you're ripping your insides out. I'm a guy. Got curious once. The plastic applicator slid in smoothly enough. Then I popped the plug in without issue. Things were going okay. Then I had enough and pulled the string. Felt like tearing out a cork made from 30 grit sandpaper. You stuck a tampon up your butt? Yes, I did. Trying to get the biggest arch possible on your flaw mid-pee. I used to move all the way back to the other side of the bathroom in elementary school and other kids would bond roll underneath the stream. We were fucking badass. I'm a girl. Have attempted this mid-shower. It's fun, but I can't bring myself to do it into a toilet. I just can't trust that this time, it won't do as told. If you're curious about how it's done, I press on my mons pubis and pull it up a little to direct it, and I don't want to pee on my foot. I used to pee standing up when I first learned how. For some reason, even though my aim was actually pretty much perfect, and she'd never realized I did this somehow, my mom caught me and told me girls pee sitting down and ruined my public toileting forever. When you go over a small hill in a car and your testicles experience microgravity. My nephew, 7 years old, calls little bumps in the road willy bumps because they make your willy feel funny. Dude, is that what that feeling is? Roller coasters have always felt weird because of that. I always brace my balls for the drop. Do girls even fear anything going over 90% if the feeling is on my vibrating ball sack? A 1,500% decrease in toilet aim in the morning and or after sex. I mean, how does it even come out at a 90-degree angle? And yet it do. The worst is when the stream suddenly splits mid-piss, and none of them end up in the toilet. I always sit if I'm not in a public restroom. I'm fairly tall, 6'3", and splashback can be an issue even if I aim perfectly. Split streams are the devil's work. Whenever I've been drinking, I don't trust myself to aim in the bowl. It's harder to read it in the bathroom while standing up. Go ahead and question my manliness if you want, but sitting down to piss changed my life. Only downside to it is trying to get my dick not to touch the inside of the bowl or the water. It's goddamn impossible. I'm right there with you. If I'm in my home or at someone else's home, and there isn't the wild party going on where everyone is peeing everywhere, I sit down. Where do people think all the urine goes when you shake out the last few drops and are standing up? Pretty much all over your pants anyway, just slightly more dispersed. That feeling during sex when the guy goes a little too deep and hits your cervix. Ouch. Saying I'm sorry when a girl tells you that you hit their cervix but deep down thinking you have a god dick. concentrating really hard during sex to not orgasm. I really wish I could just lose myself within the moment, but that would lead to some very disappointed women. Some men have the opposite problem. I have to actively focus to have an orgasm during sex if it's going to happen. It's extremely difficult for me to orgasm from oral sex, only a few times in my life, and even during intercourse, it takes a long time to build up to it and the high enough intensity to get there. If I don't focus, I can go as long as I want, over an hour sometimes. Some guys see this as a good thing, but it can be a real problem. I've had plenty of times where I got her off and just stopped to then cuddle because either it wasn't going to happen, or I didn't feel like expending that much effort. Having drops of urine soak your pants after you repeatedly shook your member in a vain attempt at avoiding having drops of urine soak your pants. No matter how much you wiggle and dance, the very last drop goes down your pants. As you are sitting down into a bathtub of hot water and your balls emerge into water before your torso or thighs. It's such a weird and ticklish feeling. Or the opposite, where you are getting into a cold pool gradually and there is that moment when it hits your balls and they shoot up into you, becoming both the first and last part of the lower body to hit the water. When you fart and rolls up into your vagina instead of backing out. The awkward shifting in your seat to release the vagina bubbles. Slap dancing. That's when us guys keep our feet planted and twist our upper bodies rapidly to make our dong swing back and forth, slapping our thighs. It's a riot. Not sure if this is just a UK thing, but the tingling feeling you get when you wash your balls with mint and tea tree original source shower gel. It's like having an invisible midget following you round, blowing on your balls for a good hour after you've showered. An hour after sex, walking around campus, and then feeling semen fall out of your vagina and squish around in your pants. When you don't have a tampon and resort to stuffing your undies with toilet paper. Nothing is contained and you wonder if people think you have a small penis. Having a nice warm face in winter because of the magnificence of your facial hair. Like I just wanna pee standing up. It's all I want. No more awkward squats on road trips over nasty gas stations toilets, no pee dribbles on the waistband of your jeans when you're camping, no more accidentally peeing on your shoe. What a life it must be. Having your penis inside a vagina. I'm not talking about sex, just the sensation of having it in there. It's the most comfortable feeling in the world. Sometimes I wish I had a girl who would let me just stick it in and then keep it there while I take a nap or something. So any guy will know about this. Whenever you take a really satisfying piss while standing, you get this chill that travels through your spine and radiates throughout your body. As far as I know, girls don't get this sensation. Also, I have this thing where I can do that sensation on command. The sheer and utter terror of walking home alone at night and being absolutely hopeless to defend yourself against nearly any situation, even though you're perfectly healthy. Obviously, men can be scared at night, but there's a certain vulnerability women feel that's hard to describe. It's a combination of knowing we are prime targets for rape, murder, etc., especially attractive women, but also other crimes, and knowing that if someone tried to attack us, we would be almost powerless against them purely due to differences in size and physical strength. For instance, I'm small enough where I can fight all I want, but if someone wanted to, they could just pick me up and carry me away. This doesn't apply to all women, but I don't think men can quite experience the terror in the same way. Even old or weak men have some authority and are generally respected, so they're less likely to be attacked. Women are thought of as fair game in some areas, and are commodities. It's hard to put into words, and I'm sure men have similar feelings, but there's some mindset that comes along with being a woman that's hard to describe. Not a sensation, but the everlasting fear that you could be mislabeled as a pervert or a pedophile for doing things any women could get away with without problem. Like on some airlines, adult males are not allowed to sit next to unaccompanied minors, but adult females can sit by unaccompanied minors. Or how it would be socially acceptable for a woman to help a lost child find their parent in a supermarket, but if a man approached a lone child, they would be suspected of trying to kidnap them rather than be helpful. I get worried about stuff like this whenever I'm approached by a child when the parent isn't around. False accusations like this happen far too often. When you know it's not your period but you just felt a large amount of something wet and gooey expel from your vagina. Thanks ovulation. When your child is descending through your pelvis. Babies are supposed to come out with their heads facing down. My son came out face up. I was crowning for what seemed an eternity, then his head came in one fell swoop. The doctor who has known this day would come made me wait with my son's shoulders and me to set up for delivery. 010 would not do again. I was in so much pain my brain shut off. Didn't scream. I couldn't think. Then I pushed one more time and my misery was over. Good news was because I crowned forever I didn't require stitches. Please share your experiences in the comment section below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more entertaining stories from AskReddit.